Hello everybody and welcome to Education Bite number 123, dated December 4th, 2020. I'm Walter, your mobile historian and blue-collar scholar. This Education Bite is entitled, My Perspective on Gun Control. Now, like my other perspective videos, I keep it 100% real here and give you the full honest truth on my opinion with respect to this subject. So let's get to it. I fully support the right to keep and bear arms inside the home for self-defense, as the Supreme Court has interpreted the Second Amendment to protect via the DC versus Heller decision in 2008 and extended to the states via the McDonald versus City of Chicago decision in 2010. I fully support the ability of the average individual, the average normal, responsible, law-abiding individual to be able to purchase any type of firearm that is in common use. Quite simply, that includes handguns, rifles, and shotguns. Now, I do not support the free access to purchase and own and sell weapons that are otherwise already outlawed in many jurisdictions in the U.S., such as military-style assault weapons, M16s, AK-47s in the lot, okay, and other types of otherwise prohibited assault weapons. I do not support a right to own those weapons, even if you are a gun collector. Okay, there's no fundamental right to own weapons of that grade. You don't need them. There is absolutely nothing that you need military-style assault weapons for. Okay, unless you're planning on doing some sort of mass shooting, which, heaven forbid, okay, certainly hope you're not planning on doing that. But you don't need those types of weapons. The weapons that I support the right of every honest, law-abiding American to own, like I said, handguns, rifles, shotguns, all serve relevant purposes, okay, for defense, for hunting, okay? These weapons are essential, okay, and ordered, in my humble opinion, with respect to bearing arms as a responsible citizen. Okay, most especially handguns and rifles. Okay, I call them essential because these weapons are essential for defense if you're using firearms and or hunting. Okay, so I fully support the average law-abiding, responsible individual to be able to obtain these weapons without problems. Okay, I fully support the notion of concealed carry and open carry. Personally, I prefer open carry, as if someone is sporting a handgun, I personally would like to know that they have such a weapon on their person. Now, others might disagree with me and feel that they prefer you keep those weapons concealed, but I respectfully disagree. I like to know where I stand with you, and if you are, okay, in possession of a handgun on your hip, I would like to know that. All right. So I fully support the concept of open carry as well as concealed carry. I prefer open, however. With respect to the issuance of permits to carry handguns, in my opinion, the best methodology is shall issue. You know, in most jurisdictions in the U.S., they're either classified as shall issue jurisdictions with respect to issuing handgun licenses, or shall issue, must issue, or before DC versus Heller, anyway, no issue. Okay. Today, typically, we have shall issue and must issue. Okay, I prefer must issue. Okay, with those type of jurisdictions, okay, the jurisdiction is required to essentially issue you a handgun license unless you overwhelmingly display some sort of reason due to your background or something else going on that you should not have a firearm. Okay? In my own jurisdiction, which is a shall issue, okay, you have to prove why you should be allowed to carry one. And that's not how it should be, in my humble opinion, okay? It should be, I should have to show you, okay? I shouldn't have to show you why I should be allowed, okay? I should be allowed, and it should be automatic unless there's something in my background whereby it would automatically disqualify me from owning the gun, okay? We have what we call a good and substantial reason test, where you have to prove a good and substantial reason to be issued a concealed carry license here in Maryland to carry a handgun. It's like climbing Mount Everest, okay? And that's not how it should be for something that is a so-called right, okay? Now, with that in mind, I fully support certain classes of individuals being permanently barred from owning any firearms, okay? This includes, but is not hardly limited to individuals who are ex-felons, who have committed violent crimes, most especially crimes where a gun was used in some format. That includes also those who are mentally ill should not be in possession of any firearms. People with diagnosed blackout rage problems, minors, people with diagnosed drug or alcohol abuse problems, domestic violence offenders, fugitives, people who have had restraining orders. None of these people should be allowed to own any type of firearm whatsoever, okay? I fully support any state and federal prohibitions keeping those individuals from owning firearms. Let's face it, a lot of people don't need any gun. And the people I just named don't need any guns, okay? It's crazy enough out there, all right? They don't need any guns, all right? And last but not least, I fully support the prohibitions on carrying firearms in the places they are traditionally banned, such as in schools, churches, okay, in government facilities, all right, and in other safety-sensitive areas where obviously carrying a firearm is just either not practical or just absolutely unacceptable, okay? So I fully support those prohibitions, all right? So, in sum, my view is that gun control is absolutely necessary in our society. To suggest otherwise would imply that we are living in a cotton candy dreamland where there are no crazy people who would misuse firearms. The bottom line, folks, is that firearms are very dangerous in the hands of the untrained. Guns are instruments of death and dismemberment, okay? And in the wrong hands, you could kill not only someone else, but yourself, all right? Guns obviously need to be regulated. And obviously, it needs to be very tightly controlled as to who can and cannot be in possession of one, all right? That, however, should not be interpreted to mean that lawful, responsible Americans should be denied the ability to own guns, okay? Lawful, responsible Americans typically do not fall into the criteria that I just mentioned. Those would be irresponsible, reckless individuals. It should not be overwhelmingly difficult for law-abiding, responsible people to purchase firearms, okay? Specifically handguns. And I stand by the proposition that if it is truly a personal right recognized by the Second Amendment to keep and bear arms in the home for self-defense, and of course, with states being free to extend, such protections for arms bearing as broadly as they wish. If that is a right, then it should not, be overly difficult for average individuals who have not demonstrated any irresponsible behavior to obtain firearms. Gun control is needed, but excessive control renders the ability to keep and bear arms little more than a parchment right for many citizens. Okay? So that's my view on gun control, essentially. All right? Like I said, I fully, entirely support the right to keep and bear arms, as interpreted by the Supreme Court from the Second Amendment. I support open carry and concealed carry with a preference for open carry. All right. Each state, in my opinion, should be a must-issue state. Okay. The state should have to prove why you should not be issued one, rather than you have to prove why you should be allowed a license to carry a gun, specifically handguns, Okay. I support a broad range of individuals being disqualified permanently from firearm ownership, all right? And I support virtually any traditional ban on carrying firearms in places where they're typically not allowed. Like I said, like government buildings, churches, schools, and other places where it's typically unlawful to bring guns. Okay, so that's my take. If you have any questions or controversies, please leave them down below and I'll be happy to answer them. Okay, my position is actually moderated because a few years ago, anyone who knows me will tell you that I was very much a Second Amendment absolutist. But as I've gotten older and wiser, I recognize that there certainly are restrictions needed on the ownership of guns, and certainly restrictions needed on where guns can be carried. Okay? So if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, just click that little red subscribe button over there. I would greatly appreciate it. All your support is truly welcomed and very, very, very much appreciated, folks. Thanks again for listening to this video. Take care, stay safe out there, and I'll talk to you at the next bite. Peace.